everybody, Jeff, your executive gardener. Happy Labor Day 2015 to everyone around the world, all my subscribers and followers. Happy Labor Day. Even though some of you in some countries don't celebrate Labor Day, happy Labor Day regardless. So this episode, I'm actually coming to you from my kitchen table. I'm usually outside, but this episode is going to be about seed starting. And I'm going to give you the top 5 reasons why I think you should start your own seeds as opposed to going to Lowe's, Home Depot, or your local garden store. There's a variety of reasons, but I'll give you my top 5 reasons. And then what I'll show you is what I'm doing to start my own seeds indoors. So it is Labor Day 2015 here in Houston, Texas, and the temperature yesterday was 96 degrees. It'll be 94 today. So I'm going to show you, well, I won't show you, but I think you can trust me. When you try to start seeds like peppers and tomatoes in 95-degree blazing heat in Houston, it doesn't work too well. So you have to start them indoors. I'll show you what I'm doing, what I'm using, how efficient it can be for you to use it as well. I don't endorse any of the products that I share with you, but I'll just show you what works for me. So let me give you first my top 5 reasons why I think you should start your seeds indoors versus going out and buying seedlings that are obviously much more expensive from a garden store. So I'm going to start with number 5. This will be like the Letterman top 10. Let me start with number 5. So if you're an organic gardener and you like to grow your seeds, your plants, your vegetables in pure organic material, you don't know that that happens when you buy it from Lowe's and Home Depot. It's commonly well known that they use chemical fertilizers to get the seedlings going, and then when you remove the seedlings that you buy from a Home Depot or Lowe's and you put that into your soil, it may not take off as quick because there's no chemical fertilizer there. So the 5th reason, again, let me repeat myself, that you would want to start your own seeds is if you're an organic gardener and you want to know that your seeds or your vegetable plants were started organically, you want to grow your own seeds yourself. So that's number 5. Number 4 is, maybe it's overlooked, but when you start a bunch of seeds, and I have a seed pack here with 20 seeds, tomato seeds, I'll plant all 20, okay? And then I'm only going to pick the top 3, the strongest seedlings that survive, the seedlings, and I'm going to use those as the plants that I use to start my garden, okay? And only the strongest survive, and when you're going to a store, you do not know, quite frankly, especially if chemical fertilizers have been used, which are the strong ones or which are the weak ones. And sometimes, if you're like me, if you go to a Home Depot or Lowe's and you look for seedlings, some of them are pretty beat up because the journey getting there has been pretty long. So again, the 4th reason to start your own would be choose only the strongest seedlings for your garden and have the most success. Number 3 is to use seeds in vegetable varieties that are appropriate for your zone. So I learned this the hard way, and let me give you an example. Well, I'll give you 2 examples. Number 1, I went to Home Depot and Lowe's and I decided I was going to grow grapevines. And what I bought was grapevines that weren't appropriate for this geographic area. So I ended up pulling out 10 to 15 different grapevines that had Pierce disease. And it is not appropriate to sell a Cabernet or a Zinfandel or any of those type of vines in Houston, Texas, or Florida, or any place that gets Pierce disease. So I found out the hard way. In addition, sometimes they sell pepper varieties, tomato varieties that are not appropriate for the zone that you live in. So all you have to do is, by planting your own seeds, you choose seeds, do your research, and varieties that are appropriate for your zone. So mine is 8B. We have very hot temperatures here, very humid, a lot of water. I'll do the research for my local agricultural society and pick those seeds, start them in my house as I'll show you, and use them for zone 8B. Could be different for zones 5, zones 6, zone 7. So the 3rd reason, again, is for starting your own seeds, to use seeds and vegetable varieties that are appropriate for your zone. The 2nd reason is to save seeds from your plants and use them to start the next generation, your fall garden or your spring garden, depending on where you are. So remember what I talked about in the fourth top reason for starting seeds, which is choose only the strongest seeds. Now you've weeded down, in my example, the 17 seedlings that aren't as strong. You took the top 3. From those 3, you're going to save the seeds for the following year. Every year, every season, I should say, that you save your seeds from the plants, these seeds have slowly adapted to the environment that you're growing them in. So if you save the seeds from the previous spring, again, take those 20 seeds, pick the 3 strongest from those 20 seeds, and then you're going to have a better chance of success at your garden the following spring. So that's my second reason for starting your own seeds, saving those seeds and using them for the next generation. And number one reason for starting your own seeds versus going and buying out seedlings at a garden store would be to plant what you want, not just what they have in stock. And it may seem obvious, but I don't think it's so obvious. So when you go to the Home Depot or Lowe's, your local garden store, they're going to probably choose 2 to 3 different varieties that move well for them. So you'll probably find Early Girl Bush, Champion, Beefsteak, some of the more common variety hybrid or determinate type tomatoes. But I don't like that. I like to plant what I like. So if you actually go to seedsavers.org or Johnny Seeds, there's a ton of variety out there. Let me give you an example. So I have some tomato packs right here, and I'll just read you some of the brands. I like growing dwarf tomatoes. Let me read you some of the brands that I'm going to be planting this fall. So Dwarf Kelly Green, wouldn't find that at Depot. Tasmanian Dwarf Chocolate, wouldn't find this at any local garden center. Dwarf Blazing Beauty, Dwarf Mr. Snow. Let's see here. Sibirsky, I can't even, it's a Russian name, it's a dwarf tomato. The Polish Heirloom Rare tomato. And lastly, the Dwarf Arctic Rose. I promise you 100% certainty that you won't find any of these at your local garden center. And I found, by the way, that these do grow they're heat tolerant and they grow very well in humid environments. And they don't grow more than 3 feet, which I like. So do your research. The number one reason for starting your own seeds versus buying seedling is plant what you want, not what they have in stock. And let me give you one more example. So lettuce. So in Houston, Texas, I used to think that you couldn't grow lettuce because every variety would bolt and they weren't tolerant to heat. Okay. And I just found out this week that that's not true. So in fact, I did my own research because, again, Home Depot, Lowe's, or garden centers don't carry varieties that are tolerant to heat. So I went out and did my own research and found that I did indeed find some that will grow in the summertime here in Houston, Texas, such as black seeded Simpson, butter crunch lettuce, and a Paris Island romaine lettuce. So I will now be having lettuce in the summer, which I didn't for the past 3 years. Let me show you how I'm growing my seeds indoors. Hang on. All right, I like to keep things simple here. So I take a corner of my office, and this is where I start seeds. So what you're seeing there is the Hydrofarm 2-foot seed starter with a light. Pretty simple concept. Underneath you have a heating pad. So this is how it works, and let me get closer. This is why I like this, okay? So first of all, if you're starting seeds, without question, if you're starting things like peppers and tomatoes, you should always get a heating pad. So you can get those at any online garden store, probably between $15 and $25 per heating pad. This is about a 2-foot heating pad. And then this Hydrofarm, you'll see there's a T5 light that is hanging over it. And let me get closer here. What you'll see is that you see how close I get the light to where the plant or the seedling should start. That's where you want it. Now the thing that I like about this contraption is that you'll see up here there's a clip and then a tie. So anytime you want to make it bigger, you pull on it and the light comes up, okay? And then you put it, so as the plants grow, you can raise the light. And then you'll see what I'm using there, and it's typically what I always use. I don't endorse this product again, but the Orta Kitchen clay self-watering plant seed starter is what I use. Now these are relatively expensive. I think they're between $30 and $40 each, but if you travel like I do, which is 3 or 4 days a week, I've done a previous episode. These things water the seedlings for you, and under the in the cork hole where you see there is a reservoir that the water seeps through the clay there, and that's what I have. So I'm starting here. Some kale on this one, some Jimmy Nardello peppers in this one, and another variety of peppers. And by the way, if you've never had Jimmy Nardello peppers, you are missing. It's my favorite pepper. So it's going to stay under here for a while. As you know, with peppers, you need to have 70 to 80 degrees the soil temperature, so that's why that heating pad is under. So I'm going to raise that, and I'm going to put that, back down on top of those, and as such. So that's that. And I have this hooked up to a timer. So if you're seed starting, it's pretty good to have the light on, I'd say 12 to 14 hours a day, and then give them some rest at night, and it clips off by itself. So my other one that I have here is and this is kind of a put together thing. So look at this giant. This is the Orta 12 cell seed starter. Big reservoir here that you can put water in, and the holes are a lot deeper. So things that have deeper roots like tomatoes and so forth, you can start it. So this is where I will be starting my Tasmanian chocolate, Arctic bush, all those type of tomatoes. So in this, then I'm gonna have my heating pad. And then what I've done is, if you go to Home Depot, you can get these dome lamps, and again, I'll raise this higher and lower based on where it needs to be, but inside here is a daylight fluorescent light, which through the dome gives it the silver dome here really blasts the plants with light. And this is on the same timer as I have these. So this is what I use, the Hydro Farm 2 foot. I got a heating mat underneath. The Orta kitchen planter, it's ORTA, you can look that up online. There's probably a variety of stores that sell that, but that's what I do. I'm going to keep it simple this year and grow these inside. I tried some Jimmy Nardello pepper seeds outside, and I won't show you the result. They just got thrashed with the heat, the elements, and so forth. And by the way, I do use your standard seed starting mix, in case anybody is wondering about that, which is a typical peat mix. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm going to start these seeds. I just want to remind people, when you do start seeds, if you live in a very hot environment like Texas or Florida or anywhere in the South at this time of year, you do want to, when you take your plants, you got to harden them off, so you need to take them out to the direct sun only a little bit at a time, over a week, and then get them adjusted to the brighter sunlight versus and the temperature versus what it is in your house, which may be 70 to 73 degrees. So that's what I'm doing. Hope you've enjoyed this top 5 reasons to start your own seeds versus going to the store and buying seedlings, and this real snapshot of what products I'm using to simply start my seeds for this fall season. Again, happy Labor Day to everybody in the United States. Have a good one. Bye.